Today we had on Andrew Perrie, the king of agent-to-agent referrals. He's done over 85% of his business from agent-to-agent referrals. He's done over 150 million in sales in the last 24 months, and he talks about the importance of being accessible and the type of content he creates to attract this business.
The Broke Agent presents Over Ask Podcast.
Andrew,
What's
before
up?
we get into this, are you at Gary V's father's store, wine store? What's going on here?
You at a steakhouse?
Yeah, funny you say that. That actually might be the idea of our next office, by the way, a steakhouse with a real estate office. But no, we're in Niagara on the Lake here, man. We're like Napa Valley in California for all your American friends. Niagara is the wine capital of the nation. So what better fitting boardroom to have, which we call the cellar, by the way. Very genius, right? But with an S. And all the wine behind me is just to make ourselves look even more cool when we have our luxury clients come in.
Yeah, I forgot to mention for the people listening, he's got wine behind him. That joke went right over everyone's head.
Come over to YouTube to see this, because he's got about 90 bottles of wine that look like crossed swords behind him.
I think there's a lot more than that, actually. We probably have about $30,000 worth of wine on this wall.
There we go.
It's an expensive set right there.
Yeah, that's an expensive set.
Our family actually, my wife's family owns a winery here too. But hopefully they're not watching this because none of their wine's in the shot. So
big winery place out there, Niagara on the Lake. Now, America also, to be fair, has Niagara as well. Eric, you know.
They do.
The Buffalo side of Niagara, right?
I don't know it personally. No, I've never been there, but I'm familiar with Niagara Falls.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, in order to afford all this wine, I mean, this guy's got to have a pretty incredible real estate career, right?
Yeah, that's true, Eric. That's true. Andrew, so we've heard in the last 24 months, your team's done about $150 million in sales, most of which from referral.
Yeah, exactly. So my personal business is around 90% agent-to-agent referrals. So that means that anybody in Florida, California, Timmins, Ontario. Actually, one of my referrals was from Australia. The referral system works a little bit different out there, but yeah, the process is still the same. So it's important to us to leverage all the networking opportunities. So I love being on with you boys.
Yeah. So let's dig down. Timmins, Ontario. That's where Shania Twain's from, Eric, just in case you were wondering where that was on the map.
I was wondering where she was from specifically. So thank you for enlightening me.
Well, there you go. I think it's Timmins. Now I'm second guessing. But we haven't had anyone really come on and talk so much about agent to agent referrals. Mm-hmm. We hear a lot of people actually say, why are you making content for agents? But clearly something's working here. So can you kind of walk us through, was this a conscious decision on your part to be doing this, or did you kind of fall into making agent on agent content, which then made your business way better?
So it's kind of like a 50-50 split. I mean, I moved to Niagara on the Lake from a little town called Churchill, and where I lived, it was like 200 people. So I was like, do I want to move back there, or do I want to stay in Niagara where I met my wife and, kind of start my business in a town that I literally know nobody? So what I had to do to get my name out there was essentially study the area, be the Mr. Niagara on the Lake. So if anybody ever says the word Niagara, I'm the first person they thought of. So that's kind of how it started, and how people started to recognize me within the industry, is because that's all I would focus on. I'd focus super niched out on my particular farm area, but not necessarily for my farm area, but for people outside my farm area. We are about an hour and 10 minutes from Toronto, and basically, Matt, as you would know, people move out of Toronto, they sell their $1 million, $2 million, $5 million home, and they come and they'll buy cash in Niagara. And, the good thing about that is that I love how my business is run right now. My average buyer is about 65 years old. So guess what? They're already retired. I don't have to work weekends or nights. So I got the best gig. And then the other half of where that stemmed from is that I was a district manager with a company called LA Fitness. And, I was training a lot of our teams through the sales process, through the service process. So that just comes naturally to me to create content. So in the beginning, I was creating content that was more sales training, networking training, referral training, how to talk to people and stuff like that. So it was just came natural to me, and then it kind of just steamrolled from there.
LA Fitness, as in the gym LA Fitness?
Yes, sir. So when they moved, when they opened their first club in Ontario, it was when I had started about 5 years ago. So it's about 12 years ago now. And now they have, I think, over 40 clubs, where in the States they have over 1,000, I think.
Oh, I was a member of an LA Fitness. It was one
Mhm.
of the worst relationships I've ever had with a gym in my entire life. They have a working scam going. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Andrew, not to demean your former employer,
Yep.
but I went in there and I had like a free trial where this guy, gave me a free training. All of a
Yep.
sudden, I was signed up for like a $40 a week session with him.
Mhm.
And I tried to cancel it. They wouldn't let me cancel. I tried to cancel my membership. They wouldn't let me cancel that. I had to write corporate. I had to go into the office. I had to go into 10 different locations. They would not let me cancel this gym membership no matter what I did. And it was like a 6-month process of doing this until finally they did. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I would argue that's why you have the good set of arms you do, Eric. Instead of crying all the time, they probably whip you up into shape.
No, I went to one training session. I kept getting
Yeah.
charged for them. It's like, how the hell do they keep doing that? But
Well, and in
very predatory on their part.
in Canada, they had to switch up a lot of the ways they did things, and we were a big part of that, because we were like, look, you expect us to do half of this bullshit? Like, it just doesn't work in Canada. Like, Canadians are different. The way you have to sell to them is different, and Canadians are way more passive. They don't care if there's a deal going on. They're like, "I'll catch you next week, man." Like, you know what I mean? They were a little bit more laid back. Where as I would hop on these sales calls with all the Americans, and like just hearing their scripts, I'm like, oh my God, does that actually work for you guys? But hey, one of the largest gyms in the world, so maybe it does.
So
All
were you
right.
creating were you creating content for LA Fitness? You said your content translated from your gym content. So were you creating content as a personal trainer and then you kind
No.
of knew what to do from a real
So
estate perspective?
I had nothing to do with personal training, by the way. It was just sales. So
Got it.
and as you could
Okay.
probably tell. But I was never actually creating content. Video content wasn't big at that time. Actually, when I started creating content in real estate, I was one of the first people to do videos other than a fucking slideshow in Niagara. So that was another way. Is like, yeah, okay, if I had started at that time in Toronto, I probably wouldn't have stood out as fast unless I did some fucking killer skits like Matt, obviously. I actually did start out doing some style of skits. Like, I don't know if you remember those Old Spice commercials where like the guy's like walking through one scene, or the camera is like one camera and all the scenes are kind of changing. We did something like that with a mix of The Office, and it's my first video. I ended up getting like 80,000 organic views. I'm like, wow, there's something to this whole video marketing thing. But I just didn't feel right. I did the lifestyle, I did the storytelling, and everybody started to catch up and do all that stuff. And then I was like, I really just don't feel comfortable doing it anymore. I want what's next. And so then I got into less of, okay, this is Grant Cardone, this is how you do it, this is how you do it, and more documentation like Gary Vee or Ryan Serhant.
Yeah, you need to, like, especially when you're one of the first in your market, people are looking at you for that reason. So you, out of everybody, need to adapt faster. You need
Yes,
to, like, because you want to be, 5 steps ahead the entire time. So you're doing the lifestyle videos. Now, when everyone catches up, you're already on to the next thing.
absolutely.
That's how you should. That's how everyone should be thinking about it. It's never like just be doing the same thing. Like, you've seen that through the years with even the skits. Like, they started long and landscape, and then you got to adapt to reels and short and 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15. Like, you got to adapt, or it's not going to work out. But I really want to like drill this referral thing home, because
Yeah.
there is so much business to be had. And for anyone who's in Niagara, I guess now you're the guy, so they're kind of shit out of luck. But anywhere else in the world, there's an opportunity to be the person for agent to agent referral. So how can someone today start working towards being that agent?
Okay. So if you ask anybody who's been in the business, or over 10, 15 years, this is exactly what they're going to say. And this is a really old school way of doing it, is like throwing like referral parties or networking parties, and then handing them out a little gift. I'm here to tell you that I've never done that. I'm sure I would love to pay them back other than that 25% commission check that they get for sending me their business. But for me, it was just being the best and most educated in your marketplace. So if you go to my personal Instagram, maybe lately because we're struggling over here, so I'm trying to push our listings as much as possible, but I rarely post just listed, just like I never post just sold unless it's a special sale and I'm telling a story. So my Instagram is all about local businesses, how I run my team, and more things on the historical value of my town, events. It's a lot of promotion through the city that I'm in. And that's all I talk about. I tag it on every single post. I tag it on every single story. And that's where you can start from. So if you're putting out the most content about your farming area, but here's the thing, if you have built your followers or your audience or your Facebook friends around buyers and sellers, it's not going to work. Go through my followers and you'll see they're all agents, all of them. And all my friends on Facebook, 90% of them are agents. And so the way I talk, the way I present my messages, it's all in such a way that promotes my town or sets me apart in some way of a leadership role, so that people, fuck, man, that Andrew Perrie, what he just said, he might ramble on and not be very articulate whatsoever, but that one sentence really stuck out to me. And then people will remember that and call you. So what we've been finding more recently, or what I've come to find out about myself and why people might be calling me, is because I always answer my phone within one ring, no matter who it is. And if I see it's like, oh, Cheryl from Remax, okay, I'm going to answer it. People now,
I would never answer that.
Yeah, Shale from Remax sounds like the worst call of all time. That's an immediate.
I don't know why I went directly to a name Cheryl, but
you pick a different name in a different brokerage. Just kidding, Remax
Right.
people and Cheryl's.
So and somebody literally reached out to me the other day and said, Andrew, I know you're going to be the guy to ask, but who do you use who has a videographer, or who do you recommend in my area? So people will reach out to me for everything, not just real estate related things. So who's your CRM? Who's your lead generator? Who's your graphic designer? Who do you use for this? Where can I go and stay in Niagara-on-the-Lake? Is there an Airbnbs available? What's the best wine tour? So it's about being accessible. I used to think it's because I would go out and offer as much value as possible. And that style, that method gets thrown out a lot. And I don't think people really understand what that means. So what I have been telling everybody now, and how I train on that with my own team, is that it's not about necessarily having the most value, but it's about being accessible. Realtors, you guys yourselves would know that I, as a realtor or a salesperson, expect information quick. And the longer I have to make people wait, the longer or the faster they'll move on to somebody else.
Now, this is interesting to me because you talk so much about farming your area and being very specific to marketing your area. But to get the referrals you get, I would assume you need quite the reach.
Yeah.
So how are you, you're creating content about your area? Mm-hmm. How do you make people care about that?
That aren't from that area.
That aren't from that area.
Well, it's basically like a chain reaction. So it's very, very similar to how you guys become viral. It's the shareability and the notoriety of everything that you do. So you want the people in Toronto or North Bay or Edmonton or BC to basically be your walking, talking billboards. I don't buy billboards. I don't do any of that shit. I invest in making damn sure that everybody knows who I am and what I'm about, so that as soon, and again, guys, I got 5,000 friends on my Facebook. And I know, what am I talking about? Facebook. It's like, what is this, 2012? But it's
coming back.
Right. And my inbox is filled 10 to 20 messages every day from different agents. And I keep those engaging relationships going on an ongoing basis. Because again, as soon as you don't know how many people call me and say, Andrew, here's a referral from a Royal LePage specific Facebook group. Okay, Andrew, somebody in my office, they just posted in a Remax specific Facebook group. I thought of you instantly. Here's their name and number.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I guess when you see content as an agent, you don't really care. Like, if you see a creative piece of content, you don't really care where it is in the world,
Yeah.
because you're thinking, if I see something you do that's specific to Niagara on the Lake, I can see that and be like, oh, I can do something like that. That was creative. I like that. I'm gonna friend this guy, because he seems like he really knows his shit. Yeah. I get
Right.
it.
And you're right. It did help that I started doing things different from the very beginning, so that I could catch the eyes of people. I'm not necessarily that much of a standout guy anymore in terms of revolutionizing marketing. However, I have already built that foundation. So now I just have to follow up with consistency and, changing things up as I go.
So when you say you're handling all these messages, you have a team under you as well, right? So is it you physically actually reading all your Facebook messages, your DMs, your calls, your emails? Because, doing 150 million in 12 months or 24 months, you're a busy dude. I can't imagine that you could handle all that sort of communication. Or is
Yes.
it just you?
So it is just me who does all my Facebook and Instagram. My
Yeah, okay.
team does the Fine Estates team Facebook page and the Fine Estates team Instagram, but I do at the Andrew Perrie. I answer everything because I know how valuable that message. If I didn't meet Dan O'Neill via Instagram messaging, and I really don't know how it happened, I wouldn't have probably met you guys. It was just like a random. I don't even know what he did. You were starting like a Discord thing or something, or a different
Yeah, that's
on an app. Like
Yeah.
and then we were all in a group chat together. I'm like, how did I even get here? Like, I don't get it.
right.
So I answer all. If I had waited and missed that, you guys probably would have been like, okay, who the hell is this guy? Who's this person in the group chat? He's never answering. So I always make a point of doing that myself. Now, and you're right. I am a pretty busy guy. I actually have 2 brokerage offices. I've got a top producing team. I got 3 kids under 6, and I do host 2 podcasts. And I'm also the director of recruitment for our brokerage too. So it's all about time blocking, man. And I really just, the most important thing to me, I might have a very sore neck, but it is responding to those messages.
Do you have your red receipts on for text messages?
No.
So we had Shane Bergman on our podcast who talked about how having red receipts on has made him a lot more responsible to his response to responding to people's messages,
Interesting.
and that it's like changed his business. And I'm trying to do that a little bit more as well, because when you have a text message just sitting in there, you kind of forget about it, you worry about it for the rest of the day. But just knowing that you're going to respond quickly to everything is such a better way to communicate, especially from a real estate agent perspective. And you're so right. If an agent reaches out to you for a referral, you don't respond for a day or so. They're going to reach out to someone else because they need to tell their client, I spoke to someone else.
Well, because the mindset of the average agent, and I would even say more than the average agent, they do not look at other realtors as a viable business option. They don't think that even at the very basic, the agent is a collaborator with you. Even at the very basic levels, where I don't see that. I see that at the very basic level, of course, but I could see 3-4 steps down the road that, Andrew, you know what? You helped me find an Airbnb in Niagara on the Lake. And man, that was 2.5 years ago. Yeah, I know. I got a client actually that's looking to move out there. Would you mind helping them? So it's not about now business for me. It never has, but I've been fortunate that a lot of that has turned into now business.
What about your clients when they see all these social posts that it's more agent to agent content? Are they ever upset with you? Like, hey, this guy's got a huge following of 30,000 plus people. How come he's not posting my listings? How come he's not, doing Instagram stories about like our market or this area specifically? Like, is there ever pushback through that?
That's a really good question. So what we do is, for a majority of our listings, we'll take 5 or 10 artistic shots. We don't really put them in, we don't put them in the listing, but they're for my Instagram only. Well, the team can have all the rights to that as well, but those are the photos that I use, and I use it to draw in interest, so people at least open it up and be like, okay, that's beautiful. Let me just find the actual listing. So my sellers do see that I am posting it, but I don't really post the full length video either. I'll do the vertical. So my videographer, when he comes to the shoot, he'll do photos, videos, detail photos, and a reel. And so I do end up posting them, but because the homes are taking longer to sell now, you're right. I actually did get that 2 weeks ago. Seller says, Andrew, why aren't you posting our listing more? And I have one answer for them. Look, I have a larger following. If somebody sees me that has been watching your listing, waiting for that small price reduction, and they see me posting your listing more than twice in 2 months, they're going to think that we're desperate. So I share as every time I'm at the house, every time my agents are at the house, tag, and then I'll share that. But as for the actual listing, I try not to post that more than twice. And that's basically the reason why.
Matt, what kind of things stand the test of time?
Beats me, Eric.
Well, I got a list for you right here. Twinkies, J-Lo, Ben Affleck, diamonds, the
Right.
Beatles.
Never
Well,
heard
you
of
could
them.
add your real estate success to that list when you partner with BoomTown, the #1 user-rated real estate CRM in the game.
BoomTown was built to drive sustainable long-term success, Eric, no matter
Yeah.
the market. So if you're ready to put your best foot forward and build a real estate business that can stand the test of time, visit BoomTown, ROI.com/overask. Plus, see how you can score $750 in free digital advertising now. Now that's BoomTown, ROI.com/overask.
That is a good point. I've seen agents hammer the same listing home and announce the price reductions, throw up different videos, different photos, different organization, different descriptions.
Yep.
We're doing this open house, and you could see the desperation through that.
And
Even
how
though they're doing their job to promote it, but I totally understand that angle as well. That if you post it too many times, other agents are going to be like, "I'm not touching this thing." Like, this
and
thing
how do you
has
think? Look,
40 Instagram posts about it.
Yeah, and how do you think you look to future sellers or future clients? Like they may not be watching that for sale sign and watching for the sold riser, but if you're shoving it in their face that it's still not sold, there's no value in that.
Very good
Yeah.
point. I've never thought about that concept before in my life, Matt.
Yeah, well,
It's the
you.
first
I
time
mean,
that's-
Oh, you're
Yeah, I
welcome.
haven't sold
Okay,
anything.
that's
There's
my
a lot.
thought. See you later.
there's a lot you
That's
haven't
probably
thought about
was.
in your life, and just to bring it back around.
What
when
else haven't I thought about?
Andrew said that was a fantastic question. I'd say it was a mediocre at best question.
It was
I just
all right.
told you
Thanks.
to-
Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew that would bother you.
Yeah, it really did. When you get the upper hand with our guests, I blacked out.
Wait, are we having a battle about who
forgot
has the
Matt
upper
was
hand?
there,
We are co-hosts. We
I
are
know.
facilitating this
I know,
together.
but,
We
listen.
usher each other into goodness.
I'm a competitive person. I want us to succeed together, but I want me to succeed just a
You want to
little
have the
more.
better episode? That's great.
I want just the little upper hand. So
Here, throw another question. Let's see how this one is.
okay, well now there's too much
Now there's
pressure.
pressure.
Andrew, so now you have your team. Are you looking for the same thing you do? Because everyone, when they get a team, essentially, when you're a great agent, you want to duplicate yourself. Is that what you're looking to do? Duplicate yourself so everyone's going to get the referrals that you get times 5 or 10 or 20. You know what I mean? Is that what you're looking for?
Man,
That's a great question.
that's a great question because I have a fucking.
That's a really good question.
So I've got
Thank
another
you,
killer
guys.
answer
Thank
for you.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where it comes from. It's just-
So the answer is fuck no. No,
Okay.
no. So I run my team the same way that I learned from LA Fitness. So I have me, CEO,
So you
manager.
keep them forever?
I know. Sorry, I know. And I drop them on every podcast. I don't know why. But so I have me, and then I have a director of operations, and then I have a VP of sales. The reason why I brought in my VP, Crystal Simons, is because I have a team of all women. I don't know if you know that. So I have a team of all women. I've got one guy, poor Peter. He's not poor, but poor Peter because he's on a team of women. And I love my team so much, but there are on a certain level, I can't connect with them to on certain subjects in certain ways of doing things. And so I hired her to be the exact opposite of me, to hold the team accountable exactly as I would, but from a personality standpoint, in a leadership standpoint, Crystal's the exact opposite. And each one of my team members are completely different individuals. And if you ever sat on a team meeting, you would know that immediately. And why do I love that? Now, not to mention, I love to promote everybody's own personal brand. Like that's why it's the Finest State team, not the Andrew Perrie team. But I assign all my referrals. If I a little too busy to take on this particular referral, I'll always make sure that it's okay with the referring agent first. But if I know, okay, this is a retired couple, they're coming looking for a bungalow in a quiet area, I'm going to refer them to Maria. Maria has more experience with retired folks, seniors, helping that process move along as smooth as possible. If I have somebody who's a new time home buyer, I'm going to send them to Vanessa. She's younger, she's fresher, she's in the process of buying her own first home as well. And then, if I'm looking for somebody who's looking for a custom home in a lot, I'll send them to Paige or Alexandra, because not only have they helped a ton of people buy lots and build a home, but Alexandra is also an investor herself. She knows how to flip a home, how to find the right project. So that's why I find people that are almost opposites of me. We try to share the same goals, of course, but if everybody thought the same, I don't think we would be growing as fast as we are.
So you're like an a cappella group.
Yes.
One's a soprano, one's an alto, and then together you create perfect harmony.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're like a basketball team. You have the point guard, you have the shooting guards on the wing, you have the center who's rebounding and blocking.
So you're like a guitar without one string. Yeah. The guitar just doesn't quite work the same.
Yeah. We're like a murder of crows.
Right.
So Andrew, I mean, some people would call. So when they talk about Eric and I, they say that Eric's the Scottie Pippen to my Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. I just wondered if you had any thoughts on that. Agreed.
Why don't you do Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner?
I don't think he knows who that is.
Okay, then
Hockey
you're
players,
Austin,
of course.
Okay, so then you're Austin Matthews.
Austin Matthews is the more well-known of those two, I would
and
say.
he's from
Phoenix,
Arizona.
Yeah,
he's from Phoenix. That's right.
So there you go. You're welcome.
Okay, so that's that makes a lot of sense. Do you do Eric? Do you do disc profiles?
Disc profiles? No.
No, I'm not. I'm asking Andrew, but I was going to ask Eric if you know what a disc profile is.
No, what's a disc profile?
Like actually?
I
don't know if it's a Canadian thing. I don't know if it's
I think Tony Robbins invented it, I think.
It shares you do a test and then it lets you know, like, are you a high D, a high I, S, C, and then it based on your personality, it says if you're gonna mesh well with others on the team. Essentially, you don't do anything like that.
No, we don't do that. I tried it and I'm like, I don't get it. And I'll go to I went to Kathleen Black, who's a really famous Canadian coach. She's got tons of American clients, by the way, but that's where I first heard of it. And I walked through it. I'm like, fuck, you're a high A. I'm like, what? I didn't even know. Where's the A in disc? You're a high B and a high D. I have no idea what it means, man. And,
was there actually A's and B's? I don't think there's.
No, that's how much I understand it, right? So
yeah,
I've got a really, really good judge of character, and I've been wrong. So maybe I don't have that good of a judge of character, but and we sit with them. First they go and they interview with our director and our VP, and then they'll interview with me. Then I invite them to a team meeting, and then we just see if they vibe well with everybody.
Yeah. I mean, you're friends with Dan O'Neill, so your judge of character can't be that
has
great.
To be pretty poor, I would say.
Pretty low.
Pretty psychotic. No, Dan O'Neill, Danny Deals, friend of the show.
Daniel Deals now.
Great friend.
Daniel Deals
guy.
Now?
Daniel Deals now, correct. Yeah. He got a pair of glasses and all of a sudden he's sophisticated.
He's
matured. And he's matured 15 years ever since the Tom Ferry conference. So I wanted to ask you a couple more questions about the agent-to-agent referrals.
Yeah.
So the content that you're creating for other agents, what does that look like? Is it how to build your team? Is it motivational stuff? What does that content look like that's attracting these other agents?
So, and that's a really good point. And I honestly don't overcomplicate it. I know what you do, and you've got a lot of people at BAM that kind of are like fucking killing it, by the way. I don't produce content like that. It's not more educational tip. It's more of a documentation of how I run my team, how I do things behind the scenes. And honestly, it's because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to do all the research for all those tips. I do sit in a chair 1 to 2 times a month, and we film it. Videographer just asks me a bunch of questions as if we're on a podcast. And so you could call that kind of motivational or educational if you want. But for the majority of my content, it's just, behind the scenes documentation kind of stuff. I know that's kind of dead now, right? But when you're doing it in short form, we're still getting a lot of engagement. So I think it's still working. Eventually I'm going to have to switch it up. But
I wouldn't say it's dead. I'd say like what I've noticed the most is any type of content you do, if you do it with enthusiasm,
yeah,
it wins. Like enthusiasm is contagious. And if they know you're having a good time and you're enjoying what you're doing, that will shine through. It really does. It's more than being like smart or funny or any of those things. If you have enthusiasm about whatever the hell you're talking about, people are going to be engaged.
That's right. And I do a mix of it, right? So my most popular stuff right now is my speaking engagements or my interviews on podcasts. When we cut those up, we're getting the most engagement from those. And I love speaking. I love traveling and getting on stage, just like Matt. I'm always like, Matt, where are you now? Where are you now? And I'm loving everywhere he goes because I'm like living, vicariously through him. Because I want to go to New York and talk to people. I think that would be so cool. But when you cut all that up and you distribute it and then you mix in, some of those trending reels that match up to the sound in your listings, right? That helps. I wish I had the time to do, who's your guest that you had on the other day? Oh my God, my mind's blanking. She does all remember
Jesse Yerxa?
Yes. And she does all those videos. I'm like, man, that must have taken you forever just to do that 15 reel, but how engaging are they? So I don't do stuff like that. Just a little lazy. I just, cut up basically everything that's ever been recorded of me and repurpose it basically.
That's why the long form is still so important. We always talk about this, just whether you're hosting a podcast or being on a podcast or filming a mastermind or a team meeting or anything like this, you should be recording all of it just to cut that hour-long piece into 10 to 15 little clips, because that's where the gold comes out. That's when you're passionately talking about something. That's when you're actually formulating an expansive thought as opposed to just, here, I got to do a video right now in 30 seconds. It's like, no, you're catching someone in context with something.
And what really helps with that is to get a commitment. So I signed up with our good buddies at Vision Lux, and they do all our videos and stuff. So we committed to a monthly program where we do 2 podcasts a month in their studio. We do once a month, we come in and film our entire team meeting. And then we do what we call stage reels. So I'm either on a stage or I'm like in a chair. And then we'll do market updates, and then we'll cut up every single one of those. And I've got content for days.
Wait, are the stage reels you on a stage acting like you're talking to an audience? Like,
no,
is it like you're at a fake conference?
no.
That's genius,
with your team,
actually.
with your team. And
Okay. So
yeah, exactly.
yes, we do that, but we never structure it in a way that would put me in a conference. It just looks like I'm talking to my team. Sometimes my team is there. Sometimes.
But are you on a stage?
Technically, yes.
Okay, it definitely looks like you're at a conference or something like that, for sure.
Yeah, but it's more like a studio where you take like headshots and shit. So anyways,
right, it sounds like when Eric. It sounds like
is.
when Eric talks at conferences.
How does it sound like that?
Just no one in the crowd.
Just because the live stream of the last conference, there was no one sitting in front of Brad who was live streaming it, if that's what you're referring to.
No, that actually looked really good.
Yeah, it was a great conference.
Well, I love that though, because we hear it all the time. I mean that agents just don't have time to do content. Well, if you're already doing the things, like say you have a great listing coming out, why are you not capitalizing on that and bringing someone with you along the way? When you have your team meetings, like you can say, like everyone has those moments where you say shit and you're like, I wish that was on film. Like that was incredible the way I like jacked my team up today. And if you film it all the time, you're going to obviously you're going to capture that shit. When if you don't film it, I mean, people just like to make excuses at the end of the day. They say like
Yeah.
they don't have enough time, but like I don't think you're doing it either way. So you might as
Look
well
at
film it.
look at every single person we have on this podcast and every single person that's successful in real estate almost. They have time to do all this content.
Yeah.
Like look at Ryan Serhant.
I was
That guy
gonna
puts
say,
out 10
yeah.
pieces of content a day. Look at Gary Vee. He puts out 1,000 pieces of content. Byron, Tom Toole, Shannon Gillette, Glenda Baker, Taya DeCarlo. Like every single person we've had on, their content is part of their success, and agent to agent referrals is part of their success too. So anyone who says they don't have time, there's
Well,
no
it's
excuse for
crazy
that
on
anymore.
the scale of like what you said, like Gary, Ryan Serhant, Grant Cardone, Ryan Pineda, like those guys.
All content.
It's all content.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well,
Like,
and it's funny you brought up Glenda Baker, because Glenda Baker is where I got that idea from, is to, sit down for 3 hours or an hour or 2 hours or whatever, and just hammer out as much content as you can. I bring 2 or 3 different wardrobes, and we just get it done. And I like what Matt said about, oh, what if you capture that one moment? And, it's funny because my team, oh, here we go, another quote. And so you said something about excuses. People fail in direct proportion to their willingness to accept socially acceptable excuses for failure. I say that all the time, and I say all these other fucked
It's
up
a hard
quotes.
quote to
that's
say.
a hard
too.
quote.
Jeez.
But
Jesus.
so-
Say that one more time.
But as soon as I say a quote in a team meeting, everybody rolls their eyes and like, oh, here we go. So when we capture those moments on camera, it makes the whole thing seem authentic. I see people try to replicate that on social media, and it's just like, ooh, cringe, man, cringe. Like, fuck, like just be real. We don't edit anything. Like, ask Sam, for our producer. He'll be like, you're my best client. I'm like, why? He's like, you don't ask for any edits. I'm like, why would I? Unless there's like a light showing my double chin or something. But when it's about the actual content, I don't edit anything. I just say, put it out.
Here's the thing. It's authentic if it's authentic.
Yeah.
I mean, like at the end of the day, it's going to come across if it's not. And
Absolutely.
it's going to come across when you're uncomfortable doing your TikTok dance or trying to be funny or trying to be anything that you're not really. Like that is going to come across especially on camera. It's like it's tenfold on camera. Like it's crazy how they say the camera makes you like gain 25 pounds or whatever. It also makes you
10 times worse.
super cringy.
If you're bad,
10
it's 10
times
times
worse.
worse.
Yeah, really.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So what about the next couple months here? What's your content strategy? Do you think the agent to agent referrals are going to slow down a little bit with this market shift? You just told me right before this that some listings are sitting for a little bit longer. So how are you shifting, I guess, your brand, your content, and your real estate business right now?
That's a really, really good question. So
Let's go.
What we've
Let's
done
do, Matt.
is we've just really doubled down on, targeting Toronto. And it's about, so we just put out this ad in a magazine called Dolce. And this magazine goes in like, the Hilton, BMW, Ferrari, like all these high end areas. They actually have a contract with a private jet or something. Anyways. So everywhere you look, you're going to see the Fine Estates team, and it's going to say, meet the team moving Torontonians to Niagara. So why would we spend all that money in our own town when we're competing against people who've lived here their entire life? Why don't we put that content or put that budget into content in other areas where they don't know anybody in our area? So it was just a no-brainer for me. So that's where we're starting. And yeah, man, I think just another office like by the end of the year is what we're kind of looking at, as well as like we have a division in Oakville and Burlington, and we're just trying to find a satellite office for that. We're also working on I hate saying this out loud, but like a TV show kind of thing. We had a works in for a pilot, and basically it's the difference between buying in Muskoka or Niagara on the Lake, which is what I call the Great Canadian Debate of waterfront for Ontario. So
have you seen Buying Beverly Hills?
I have not yet.
You should watch it.
I will, and I have some information that I can't talk about season 2. Maybe I'll tell you off camera.
Well,
Damn.
I think I would already know.
I think you probably would.
What is it?
I can't say.
We
Hey
can't.
guys,
I
I'm
don't.
right here,
I don't
tell me.
actually. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm leaving Revel to join the agency, and I'm going to be on season 2.
Good.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
That'd be fantastic. I mean, hop aboard. Everyone knows I'm with the agency. Yeah, I just
Yeah,
say that
Matt and
every
I will do it.
episode.
Matt and I will do a full review of Buying Beverly Hills soon, I think. Because
Do it. Oh
I
my
think
God.
you've seen every episode, but we're hearing so far this is like the best show for agents to watch, and that it like trounces Selling Sunset. It's not all
It's
about
really
the drama.
good.
It's
It's
actually
way
like
more
real estate
Yeah,
transactions.
it's really good. I'm not just saying that because like they're the agency and they're awesome, but like
Yeah.
it's actually a really good show.
So you know what you guys need to do, because this is what we were planning on doing as well, but you know, you guys would do a way better job at it, is you should do like 90-day fiance pillow talk, where you guys are like on the couch holding a pillow reviewing Beverly Hills.
I'd have to fly to Canada to do that,
Yeah,
or he'd have
that's
to fly
okay.
here.
I'm flying
Yeah.
there next week.
Or the
Let's do it.
COVID
All right,
one.
yeah, so sleep over and we'll do that. That sounds
Okay,
fun.
yeah. Well, I
There
don't
you
have
go.
actually have a hotel, so I was
Well,
planning
there you
on
go.
yeah,
Perfect.
sleeping on your couch.
You can sleep
Beautiful.
with Miles.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Yeah.
Miles is his dog.
By the way.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not my dad.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah.
Not the weirdest thing he's done, but it would
Hey,
be
Miles,
Yeah.
just coming by to sleep with you
Yeah,
again.
he just stays here.
Yeah.
in the other room.
Awesome. Well, Andrew,
Yeah, buddy.
thanks for being on. We really appreciate it. I think our audience is going to get a lot of value out of this.
Good.
Where the heck can the people find you?
Just one place and one place only. Instagram at the Andrew Perrie. The rest follows.
There you go.
Awesome.
The Andrew Perrie.
Well,
If you guys enjoyed this episode, throw it a like
Yeah.
on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and comment who you want to see next on the podcast and what you want us to talk about, because agent to agent referrals, I think this is the first time we really honed down on this, Matt. So
Yes.
this was
love it.
great episode. Thanks,
Groundbreaking.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking. Yeah.
Thank
You're the only person to ever come up with something like this.
Yeah.
Agent
Yeah.
to agent referrals. I mean,
Yeah.
I invented the referral
brilliant.
form. So
Yeah.
you did. That's right.
The Perry form.
yeah,
Exactly.
the Perrie 801.
All right. Thanks, dude.
Peace.